If you find yourself struggling to get into Armory, or just the lockdown mode in general for Arena Breakout, then luckily enough I'm here to give you my top 3 best budget builds for Arena Breakout. And as always, if this video helps you out or you're new here and haven't already, do me a huge favor, hit that like and subscribe button as it greatly helps me out. But anyways, let's dive straight into the builds. One of the first budget build weapons is going to be the MP5 located at the SMG tab. Now let's actually build out this weapon. So first things first, this build is going to give you 75 vertical control and 51 horizontal control. And we're also going to be looking at 67 ergo. The price about 112k, but again the prices vary depending on the time of day and what the market prices are at. Again, it's always better to barter for your attachments or if you have anything else available. But now actually building out this weapon, we're going to be using the hollow sight. You can use any sight, but I'm trying to keep it at a decent price so that everyone is available to use this build. We're then going to be running the standard universal receiver clip as we don't really need to mess with it at all. Followed by that, we're going to be using the 50 round drum mag again to get the price up, and it's always just better to have more bullets on hand. We're then going to be moving to the charging handle. Again, we're going to keep it default. You don't really need to mess with that. We're going to have one laser and it's going to be on the left side. Side doesn't really matter. It's up to you. And it's also up to you if you want to put on a laser. But so that we have the option to actually put on the lasers, we're going to be putting on the industrial handguard so that again we can put on the laser sights and it just gives better stats overall. We're then going to be running the threaded muzzle adapter so that we can put a 9mm suppressor on. And what suppressor or any muzzle you use is totally up to you and your playstyle, but I highly recommend the 9mm if you're trying to pick a suppressor that fits you. Followed by the suppressor, we're going to be putting on the 4.1 inch lock rail so that way you can put a grip. For the grip we're going to be using is the lightweight front grip. Again, we're not trying to make this MP5 super balled out, but we're trying to keep it at a pretty balanced price. How I see it, this grip usually gives you the best bang for your buck or the best stats for its price, so keep that in mind as well. Now when it comes to the rest of the weapon, pretty much everything's going to be default. So just the stock MP5 upper rail, then the base recoil stock. Now I actually want to take this into the range to actually show you what it's all about. So we find ourselves at the practice range or the firing range to actually test out this MP5 build. So this is me not controlling any of the recoil at all. You can see after our first couple shots it centers very nicely. So this has to be hands down one of the easiest builds to control if you struggle on trying to control recoil in this game. So I highly recommend this build if you're new to the game and you want to dive into Armory as quick as possible. Now the next build we're going to be looking at is the AK-74N. And the AK-74N is a pretty solid weapon and it definitely packs a punch with the right ammo and built the right way. As you can see, our stats are 64, 52, 42, so I will say it's pretty balanced when it comes to actually using the weapon. Now just going over what attachments we're going to be looking at, we're going to come over to the dust cover at the top. The dust cover that we're going to be using is just the standard dust cover. And we're also going to be using the standard charging handle or whatever it's called, handle cap. And again, standard dust cover. Now for the handguard, we are going to actually want to have the CAA industrial handguard as it just gives us overall really good stats. And then now we can put on the foregrip. The foregrip we're actually going to be running with this is the lightweight, just like the MP5. The lightweight foregrip is honestly just the best bang for your buck. I think a lot of people sleep on this grip and it's overshadowed by a lot of other grip. Then moving on from the foregrip, we're going to be slapping on the AK series hex suppressor. Again, it's a suppressor who doesn't like a suppressor. From there, we're going to be looking at the rear grip. We're going to keep it on the standard rear grip. It's best not to mess with any of the grips when it comes to AK-74N, as I've generally found better control when just using the standard grip. But if you're looking to get a little more value in the weapon, you can definitely change that up. We're going to be slapping on the stock pad. And what the stock pad is actually going to do is just give us an increase in horizontal, vertical, and ergonomics. But it does affect the weight just a tad bit. Then moving on from the stock pad, we're going to keep the AK-74 wooden stock. We're then going to put on this dust cover rail so that we can put a sight. The sight that we're going to be using is going to be the PK06, as most of the other sights, although visibility is better, they can become a little too pricey for me. So we're trying to keep this build on a budget idea. Now that we're in the practice range, let's actually test the weapon. So this again is me not controlling the recoil. Again, controlling the recoil for this weapon is fairly easy. It's just that the first couple shots are going to be a little bit random at sometimes. The next weapon we're going to be looking at is actually going to be the T951. Now the T951 is actually a really solid weapon, and I think a lot of people sleep on it, as you honestly only really have to put on 4 attachments for the weapon. Now what's cool about the T951 is that there's already a front rail built into the weapon, so all you have to do is buy the front grip. Now the front grip we're going to be using for this budget build is going to be the short vertical Now the short vertical, you can use other grips, but again the short vertical for this weapon specifically is going to be the best bang for your buck. As you can see the stats here, when you put on the short vertical, all it's going to do is just increase our vertical and horizontal. Now you can see other grips as well. Again, this is going to be messing around with the other stats, but again I highly encourage you just to use the short vertical. From the front grip, we are then going to be putting on the suppressor for the weapon. Now the suppressor is a little pricey, so keep that in mind when trying to build out the weapon. Again, try your best to barter for these attachments, or see if you can get them from a cheaper price. From there, we're then going to be moving to the top of the weapon. We're going to be putting on the top rail so that we can place a sight. The sight we're going to be using is the PK sight. Again, it's on the cheaper side, as a lot of the other sights are a little too pricey for us. Now the price of this weapon currently is about 100k with it built out like this. Now what's unique about the T591 is it has its own ammo at a 200 per round with level 3 pen and a base pen of 34. So it's honestly a really good choice to use this weapon, which is pretty insane. Then going to come over here. Again, not going to control the recoil at all in the shoot. As you can see, the first couple shots are a little random, just like most guns in this game. You're going to have to pull down just a little bit when it comes to using this weapon, but overall the shots are mostly going to be centered. Now let's dive into the kit you're looking to use. So what are we going to actually be wanting to use? Well, first things first, we're going to be wanting to use the SH12 military helmet, as it's a level 3 armor class with high ricochet chance, and it has built-in headphones, so you don't really have to drop a lot of money for headphones. Now the one disadvantage that this helmet has is pretty obvious, is that there's no face shield, but there is an alternative you can run. But before the alternative, we're going to be wanting to run the Sentry 305 armor chest rig. Again, try to barter for these items. You're going to have a level 4 armor class. Protected area is going to be the chest. And if you're buying for the market, it's going to run you about 65,000. Again, I highly encourage you to barter for these items. Following the chest rig, we're actually going to be using the Rush Tactical Backpack. Again, more storage equals more looting. I find that the Rush Tactical is the best bang for your buck. You can use lower tier backpacks like a medium camping backpack, a hiking backpack, or anything like that. As you can see, our loadout price is about 211,000, but again, it can all vary depending on the day, time, and what the market is currently at. Now, if you don't like the idea of not having a face shield, then I highly encourage you to slap on the F70 helmet. Again, you can use any face shield you want for the F70. I just have this one on to save space in my storage. But with that, the one thing you have to keep in mind is that you're gonna have to equip the headset. So what headset I have right now is just the M32s, as that's what's in my storage. But when I slap these on, you can see my price goes from 211,000 to 218. So if you really care that much about a couple thousand, then just run the SH12. But there you have it. Those are my budget builds when it comes to Arena, Breakout, Lockdown, and Armory. And of course, if you found this useful, like and subscribe.
Because I shot this guy in the head with the AP63. Nice.
I gotta heal.